So I really didn't want to do this. I made a few posts on Facebook about this whole Chick-fil-A thing, and I'm not going to talk about Chick-fil-A really because I don't care enough about it, and I'm tired of talking about it. But I have to say something about this, guys. I don't know what you think freedom of speech means, but freedom of speech does not mean that you can't criticize someone. Freedom of speech means that you get to say what you want, that you are free to speak. That doesn't mean that no one can criticize you. That's not what that means. And it's really, really strange when you come out and you say, you people need to shut up because he can say whatever he wants because he has freedom of speech. You be quiet because he has freedom of speech. The irony there, the irony is suffocating. It's like a wet blanket that's been put over my head that prevents me from breathing. It's unbelievable how stifling this is. This huge wet blanket of irony telling someone, you guys need to be quiet. You be quiet. You don't speak because he has freedom of speech. It's just strange, and it just shows that you have a radically mistaken idea about what freedom of speech is. You are absolutely free to say whatever you want. Within reason, right? We have laws. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There's these things that we talk about. But in terms of your opinions about the world, you can say whatever you want. That does not mean that you are free from the consequences of saying those things. That doesn't mean that no one is allowed to say, hey, I disagree, or hey, I'm no longer going to patronize you. And this idea that like you're hurting a business just because they've come out and said something, because you're boycotting them. You're allowed to boycott people. You're voting with your dollar there, whether or not you agree with someone. You are absolutely allowed to not spend money somewhere. And you're allowed to say why you don't want to spend money somewhere. And it's strange because the same people who are saying this are the same people who are in favor of all sorts of boycotts. I'm constantly hearing about conservative evangelicals boycotting somebody or another because of something, whether it's Ellen, whether it's Disney because they've given certain benefit packages to their homosexual employees or whatever it is. There's this incessant line of boycotts coming out of the fundamentalists, and yet here everyone is upset because Big Gay. I've actually seen people call it Big Gay. It's really bizarre because Big Gay is behind this boycott of Chick-fil-A, which apparently is massively failed because it just turns out that people, especially where I live in the South, I live in central Louisiana, people here hate the gays. You can't get into Chick-fil-A right now. The line around Chick-fil-A has been out into the street every day. It's mind-blowing just how desperate people are to support Chick-fil-A because they really, really hate gays here where I live. So that's just bizarre too. But like I said, what I want to talk about is this notion of freedom of speech. You are not protected from other people criticizing your opinion. People are absolutely allowed to criticize what you say. That's them speaking. That's their freedom of speech. They are free to do that in the same way that you are free to say whatever you want. They are free to respond. And for you to come along and say, hey, you got to shut up. Because that guy or I'm free to say whatever I want, so shut up. You have so radically, so amazingly misunderstood what freedom of speech is about that it's hard to even know how to talk to you. I can't imagine that people are this stupid, and yet over and over, this is all I see on my Facebook feed, this is all I see when I talk to people. Christ, people, get a grip. Don't be so stupid.